Pictures made soon after the event depict the surroundings and can be checked against a detailed map of Manchester from 1819. Together with numerous eyewitness accounts, they allow us to reconstruct the events of the day. St Peter's Fields occupied the area which is today between the Central Library and Manchester Central Conference Centre. In 1819, St Peter's Field was on the edge of the city centre, only partly built up. The hustings, or platform, was on the south side of the field, in front of Windmill Street, which had a row of houses with cellars. At the far end of Windmill Street there was a narrow gap, which would become a pinch point as people tried to escape. On the north side was the Friends Meeting House, the Quakers, with building timber nearby. The magistrates watched from the first floor of a house on Mount Street. The Speaker, Henry Hunt, and his party arrived from the opposite side of the field, from the direction of Deansgate. Early in the morning of the 16th of August, the Assistant Surveyor of Paving inspects the field and removes any stones that could be used as a weapon. At 9 o'clock, the Joint Committee of Lancashire and Cheshire Magistrates meets at the Star Inn, Deansgate. After a good breakfast, they move to Mr Buxton's house in Mount Street to monitor the situation from the first floor windows. Troops are stationed in the surrounding streets in case they are needed. Around mid-morning, the hustings is prepared for the speakers from 2 carts on the south side of the field, near Windmill Street. From 11 o'clock, people from Manchester begin to gather while processions thousands strong arrive from the surrounding towns and villages, from Bury and Haywood, from Rochdale and Middleton, from Saddleworth, Lees, Oldham, Hollingwood and Failsworth, from Stockport and South Manchester, from Flixton and Wigan and Bolton. They march into St Peter's Field to tremendous cheers. They have flags and banners, which they place around the hustings. By lunchtime, a crowd of some 60,000 or more is assembled. We'll never know how many, but it's the biggest rally Manchester has ever seen. The reformers around the hustings link arms to protect the flags and the speakers. Meanwhile, the magistrates take down sworn statements from loyalist citizens who claim they are alarmed by the crowd, and they prepare a warrant for the arrest of the speakers. They have a clear view across St Peter's Field. 2 rows of volunteer special constables have kept open a way for the magistrate to reach the speakers if necessary. The last procession to arrive is that of Henry Hunt, who enters in an open carriage drawn by supporters to tumultuous cheers. Mary Files of the Manchester Female Reformers is at the front. Hunt and his party join the other speakers on the hustings. There are also newspaper reporters from Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool and London. There is no photography or film in 1819, but a silent newsreel film of the event, as seen from the Windmill Public House, would have looked something like this. Surely, the reformers feel, the government must heed so many people, peacefully assembled in such impressive order, to claim the right to vote. As Hunt begins to speak, the magistrates, alarmed at the possibility of a riot in such a huge crowd, decide to arrest him, and they summon troops for support. The volunteers of the Manchester Yeomanry Cavalry arrive first, followed later by the regular cavalry, the 15th Hussars, with the Cheshire Yeomanry behind them. Rushing along Cooper Street, the Manchester Yeomanry accidentally run down and kill 2-year-old William Files, the first casualty of Peterloo. They draw up in front of the magistrate's house. Hunt calls for 3 cheers from the crowd, perhaps to give people confidence and show unity. The yeomanry interpret it as a shout of defiance and cheer back, waving their swords. As the special constables move aside, the yeomanry advance rapidly towards the hustings, with the town officers and Deputy Constable Nadin following. A special constable, John Ashworth, is accidentally knocked down and killed in the charge, the second fatality of Peterloo. Hunt is arrested along with several others. The yeomanry attack the flags, surround the hustings and strike out at the crowd. A cloud of dust blocks the view of what happens next. Three weeks later, solicitors investigating the event would report, directly the yeomanry charged upon the people, they endeavoured to disperse, but many, in endeavouring to escape, fell and were trod upon and fallen over by others, so as to form distinct heaps. And while they were crying out for mercy, the yeomanry continued cutting at them. With the Manchester yeomanry stuck, the regular cavalry of the 15th Hussars arrive, followed by the Cheshire yeomanry. Their commander rushes upstairs to the chairman of the magistrates for orders and is told, "Good God, sir, don't you see they're attacking the yeomanry? Disperse the crowd." The Hussars charge, causing panic, and the crowd breaks. The Cheshire yeomanry also advance into the crowd along Windmill Street. A crush develops at the pinch point at the end of Windmill Street. Some of the yeomanry hack at the crowd. An officer of the Hussars is heard trying to restrain them, saying, "For shame, gentlemen, the people cannot get away."
Let the people go.
In Windmill Street, some people escape over a wall into a narrow side alley. Others are crushed as they seek refuge in the cellars. Many people flee across the field towards Peter Street, but some escape routes are blocked by infantry. Another crush develops near the Friends Meeting House, and people help each other over the 10-foot high walls into the Quaker burial ground. Some troops force their way through the gates to pursue them. In a few minutes the field is all but cleared, leaving 15 people dead or dying and over 650 injured. Bonnets, shawls and walking sticks lie all around. "The first action of the Battle of Manchester is over," wrote a soldier. Reformers called this Peterloo.